Hello friends, I'm AtulDahale and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to look at one very interesting game played by the 12th World Chess Champion Anatoly Karpov. Anatoly Karpov was the World Chess Champion during the period of 1975 to 1985, and the game which we are going to look at was played between Jan Timman as white, Karpov as black, and it was played in Montreal International Chess Tournament 1979. And the game's opening has an interesting story behind it. Anatoly Karpov played one World Chess Championship match against Wch Kortchnoi in 1978, and during that match he had an interesting idea prepared, but he never got the chance to play that idea in his games. But Jan Timman plays the same opening, and Karpov understands that it is his chance to play his interesting idea which he had prepared against Kortchnoi, and Timman falls for the same idea, and then Karpov sacrifices his knight, and then the spectacular king hunt starts. So stay tuned till the end to understand the idea also, and also how he attacked his opponent's king and hunted down his king till the checkmate. So without further ado, let's get started. The game started with c4, and then knight f6 was played, knight c3, and now e5. Now this is the English opening. Okay, white plays a standard move, knight to the f3, knight to the c6, and here standard moves are g3 as well as e3. Timman plays e3 in this position. You can see that both players have developed their knights towards the center of the board. That is a very good strategy in the opening, and they are also controlling the center with their pawns. These pawns are controlling these important squares. Okay, black plays, Karpov plays bishop to the e7, and here Timman plays d4, and Karpov captures the pawn on d4, and white has two options in this position, either to capture the pawn with e pawn or the knight pawn. So let's suppose he captures the pawn with the pawn, then black has a nice idea, that is to play d5 in this position. Why? Because black needs to control the center with his pawns, and if c into d5 happens, then after knight into d5 the game will be converted into isolated queen pawn position, which is an interesting middle game. Okay, but during the game Timman captures the pawn with the knight, then knight into d4, and Karpov calmly castles in this position. And now again Timman plays an interesting move. He plays knight into c6, asking Karpov like by which pawn he is going to capture. If suppose black captures the knight with the pawn on d, then the queens will be exchanged and the game will be fizzled out, a kind of queenless endgame. But Karpov had prepared something else. He captures the pawn in a different way. He plays b into c6, capturing the pawn towards the center of the board with the idea of playing d5 now, and also the b file is also opened up for the loop. So we will see what really happened, how he took advantage of that b file. But before that, white plays bishop to the e2, and as per the plan, black plays d5 in this position. And after d5, white just castles and completes his development on the king side. And Karpov understands that he needs to activate his bishop on e7, so he plays bishop to the d6, eyeing towards white's king. The h2 square is now little bit weak, because you know that the knight is usually placed on f3 to protect the pawn on h2, but in this position the knight is not there. So this bishop is not there, it developed, so white plays b3 in this position, and Karpov calmly develops his queen. His idea might be to play the rook to the d8 square. Okay, so white plays bishop to the b2, and there is some tension in the center of the board. So to avoid all the tensions in the center of the board, black plays d into c4 in this position, and after b into c4, the game's center is gone in this position. And now in this position white had the chance to play bishop into c4 also, but after that queen e5 will follow, and then g3 will be played, and then bishop h3 is a possibility, and after rook to the e1, rook d8. I will prefer this position playing from the black side, because black's pieces are more active compared to white's pieces. And here Timman chooses b into c4, which is quite natural, and after that black plays rook to the b8, bringing the rook on the b file, that is an open file, and attacking the bishop on b2. So Timman just protects the bishop on b2 with queen to the c1, and now Karpov activates his pieces. He plays knight to the g4, eyeing towards the h2 pawn. And now here in this position, bishop into g4 was a possibility. Definitely after bishop into g4 the position is still complicated, but the thing is that the pawn on c4 is a weakness. So let's suppose white plays rook to the e1, then black can play rook to the b4 and the c4 pawn will be under huge pressure. So in this position white plays g3, and this is the moment where Karpov improves his idea. His previous idea was to play knight into h2 because it will lead to a draw, because king into h2 will lead to check. Now the pawn cannot capture because there is a pin on this diagonal. If king to the g2, then queen h3 check. If king to the g1, bishop into g3, f into g3, queen into g3, king to the h1, and now black needs to settle for a draw because there is no other piece which can attack the white's king. But Karpov improves his idea with that. If let's suppose in this position the rook was involved, the rook was there on e8, then rook can come to e4 or e6 square and there will be a checkmate on this file. So to implement that idea, in this position he plays rook to the e8. His idea is to play knight h2 on the next move. So but here in this position Timman should have understood that he should have captured the knight on g4 or play bishop to the f3, trying to bring the bishop on this g2 square, which will at least protect white's king. But he did not go for that. He does not understand the vitality of that sacrifice, and he plays knight to the d1, which is surely a mistake. And now Karpov plays knight into h2 and the king hut starts. Here Timman, if plays king to the h2, as I told you, queen h4 is a good move, then king to the g2, then queen h3, king to the g1 and bishop into g3, f into g3, queen into g3, king to the h1, and now a nice move, rook to the e4, and the rook h4 is almost unstoppable. Okay, white can play rook to the f4, but after bishop h3 there is no piece from white side which can protect the king on h1 and he will just lose the game. Okay, there was also a possibility to play in this position to play rook to the e6, but this will be a mistake because white has a nice interesting return sacrifice, that is bishop to the f6, and then he cannot really capture this bishop because rook g1 is a good move. So black had to settle for a draw in that case. But okay, Timman did not capture the knight on h2. He plays c5, thinking that okay, this bishop is now attacked, bishop will be moved somewhere and then he will get a chance to defend the position. But Karpov had prepared something else. He is ready for all these things. He plays knight into f1 with the very interesting idea I will show you. If c into d6, he is not going to move his queen or he is not going to capture the pawn on d6. He is going to play something which is interesting and he plays it on the board. He plays knight to the g3. He is just giving up his queen, but no, actually he is not giving up. He will get the queen in return by knight into each check, then king to the f1 and knight into c1, rook into c1 and rook into e7. And in this position black is exchange up, plus he has several pawns on the king side and he will eventually win. So after knight into g3, Timman did understand this thing and he captures the knight on g3. And now Karpov plays queen into d6. He is eyeing towards queen into g3, as well as if white protects it as he did in the game with king to the f2, he is going to play queen to the h6. Now the queen is going to come on the h file, and now king is not having any ideal squares in the center of the board. He is going to run away. So after this move, he is going to run away, so he blocks the d file, plays bishop to the d4, further protecting the e3 pawn, and now queen to the h2 check. And now the king hunt starts. He plays king to the e1, queen into g3 check, king to the d2, and now queen g2. A very simple move. Now the bishop on e2 is pinned. Black side has to play bishop a6 and capture the bishop. So Timman plays knight to the b2, bringing the knight to the d3 square on the next move. He plays bishop a6, then knight d3 comes, and after bishop into d3, king into d3, it's time to bring the rook on the d file. So he plays rook b d8. Now d4 bishop is going to be captured at some point because there is some standard ideas also there, rook into d4 and the queen into e2 is also there after that. So white plays bishop to the f1 and now queen e4 check, king to the c3, and now a nice move. He plays c5 because if bishop into c5, which happened in the game, queen c6 is a good move, pinning the bishop, and if the king moves to the b3 square, Now rook will come on b8 check, and now this position is very difficult for white. His king is completely in the open position, so he plays king to the a3, and now he brings another rook in the game with rook lift, rook e5. Now the bishop is not going to be having any good squares. He plays bishop to the b4, trying to cover up little bit this king's position, but after queen b6, white just resigned because there are multiple threats now. Rook is going to capture the e3 pawn with a check, and then king is not going to survive. Let's suppose for the clarity, maybe white will try to play something like in this position. If you move the bishop here to the c3 square, then you can see that black can just play bishop a5, then this is a checkmate. So this position is very difficult for white, and he just resigned. So I hope you enjoyed this king hunt by the Karpov. He started everything with this nice idea with knight into h2, and then white's king was never able to hide because he did not have any pawns to get the shelter, and Karpov played in a brilliant attacking style. I hope you like this video and you will share with your friends also. If you are not subscribed to my channel till now, do subscribe for more good videos. We'll meet again. Till that time, take care and goodbye.